5 most memorable moments in the NFL that made us cry. Welcome back to Big Hit Central. Let's jump right into the video. Number 1. National Football League is created. 1922. The birth of professional organized football started with a meeting of 7 men in Canton, Ohio in 1920. One of the attendees was the legendary Olympian Jim Thorpe. The group decided to form a league that would consist of 10 teams playing in 4 states. The league was to be called the American Professional Football Association, or APFA for short. The APFA was formed on September 17, 1920. The APFA nominated and elected Thorpe to be the president of the league. According to this article from History.com, some of the APFA league members consisted of the owners of 4 teams from Ohio: Akron Pros, Canton Bulldogs, Cleveland Indians, and the Dayton Triangles, and from Illinois, the Rock Island Independents, Chicago Cardinals, and the Decatur Staleys. The league only lasted for 2 years, and it was then reorganized on June 24, 1922 into the National Football League. The only founding teams that are still in existence are the Arizona Cardinals, who started off as the Chicago Cardinals, and the Decatur Staleys, who later became the Chicago Bears, and the Green Bay Packers. Over the years, the National Football League became more organized, which led to the creation of the first league championship game in 1933. The National Football League was taking roots and taking hold. Number 2. NFL Draft is created by Bert Bell, 1935. Bert Bell was a co-owner of the Philadelphia Eagles, and he was struggling to put a good product on the field. His Eagles teams were having trouble securing top-level talent, so in 1935, Bell proposed that the National Football League consider going to a draft. Bell felt that the draft would enhance the competitive parity on the field in order to ensure the financial viability of all franchises. His proposal was adopted unanimously, and the NFL Draft was born. Bell's plan stopped players from only joining the most prestigious teams in the league and gave the other teams a fighting chance to compete each year. The draft was changed over the years in regards to trimming some of the rounds and making tweaks like adding compensatory picks, but the current draft is essentially what Bell envisioned that it should be. The NFL is much better off thanks to Bell's insight and creativity. Bell also served as the NFL commissioner from 1946 to 1959. Bell had been partial owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers team, but had to sell his shares of the team to accept his commissioner role. Most football fans are aware of the AFL and NFL merger, but Bell was responsible for the first real merger of the NFL. That merger was between the NFL and the All-American Football Conference. He also dealt with a gambling scandal in 1946 and encouraged players to report whenever somebody approached them in an attempt to bribe a player. Another little-known accomplishment was that Bell created the NFL league schedules on his own, in addition to coming up with a revenue-sharing system that allowed teams from smaller markets to compete with the teams from larger markets, who brought in much higher revenue streams. Bell was responsible for many positive developments that are still in place in the NFL today. Number 3. NFL goes primetime with Monday Night Football, 1970. The very first time that the ABC network televised the game on Monday Night Football was on September 21, 1970, between the New York Jets and Cleveland Browns. The Browns won the game 31-21. The very first broadcasting trio was Howard Cosell, Don Meredith, and Keith Jackson. Other key figures would join the crew in subsequent years, such as Frank Gifford and O.J. Simpson. One interesting story from that first year is that Cosell was slurring a speech in the November 23, 1970 game. He wound up vomiting all over Meredith's boots. Cosell left the booth, so Jackson and Meredith had to finish up the game on their own. Why Monday Night Football was so important was that it brought pro football into more homes around the country at prime time, when families would be home on a weekday night. Cosell and his mannerisms were the deciding factor for whether you opted to listen to the broadcast live or listen to the radio instead. Number 4. Miracle at the Meadowlands, 1978. The miracle at the Meadowlands occurred on November 19, 1978. The New York Giants were in control of the game and only had to kill the final minute of the clock to secure a victory. Giants quarterback Joe Pikarsik fumbled the attempted handoff, and Herm Edwards of the Philadelphia Eagles scooped up the gift fumble and raced into the end zone untouched for the shocking win. From that point forward, when teams are in a similar situation, they go to the victory formation. They always have one player kept back, just to make sure the same thing doesn't happen again. Number 5. Instant replay is passed, 1986. The National Football League adopted instant replay on March 11, 1986 to help referees out with the specific calls in games. Despite the ability to slow down the video feed and the use of different camera angles, it is still not a totally foolproof system. Part of the rationale for that statement is that there has to be enough visual evidence to overturn a call made on the field. If the call on the field was wrong, it can be tough to overturn it. Prior to 1986, whenever a team lost due to a bad call, it gave the fans a rallying point to bemoan their bad luck. Now with the advent of instant replay, they have a fighting chance to know that their team wasn't cheated or robbed. This is the story by Tony Long of Wired.com. The adoption of instant replay also went hand in hand with the ability for coaches to challenge calls on the field that they thought were wrong. The improved technology included slow motion and multiple angles, which helped the instant replay official get the most information possible to make an accurate decision. This development has helped the game of football advance. There will continue to be more tweaks to the system over the years. For the 2012 season, the NFL adopted a new rule that every turnover will go to instant replay to verify that it was indeed a turnover before proceeding on with the game. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.